Hey, it's Steven here from Marketplace Superheroes. Two hands going up today. Today's video I'm going to talk about how to master Amazon SEO. This is actually a talk that I gave at our last boot camp here in Ireland, and it's a really valuable talk. I hope you enjoy it. Now, before we give you the recording, I would love for you to first of all click subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon. Please like this video. It's really important that you help us do these things because without your help, we can't tell anybody about these videos. We need YouTube to know these are the greatest videos ever. Well, maybe not the greatest videos ever, but pretty close. So hope you enjoy the recording. We're gonna bring you over right now. Enjoy, and as always, do exactly what I just said. All right, let's go look at it. All right, so this is a real important Amazon SEO talk that I put together. I haven't really put something together like this before, so I just thought it'd be really interesting to actually try and break down a little bit about the Amazon search engine, a little bit about how it works, just so you can understand it a bit better, and when you're applying it to your listings, and also when you're thinking about new products as well. My hope is that we get a couple of moments where you're like, oh yeah, that's how it works, that's interesting. So call this Amazon SEO made simple. How to set up your products for long-term rankings with the A9 search engine. Those of you who don't know, Amazon's search engine is called A9, and they have an entire team that work on it every single day. Billions of requests now at this point to the search engine, and it's huge. It's the biggest product search engine in the world, and I think it's in the top 3 search engines in the world. But there's a few things you have to know about it that I want to explain today that we haven't really explained before. So first of all, this is not magical stuff. This is very simple stuff, very simple SEO information, which means search engine optimization, which in this case, we're not really optimizing for a search engine, we're optimizing for Amazon's search engine. So these are easily executed. This is something you can all do, something you can all learn from, and something you can be thinking about with your existing items as well. Have you SEO'd them well enough? Have you done enough to get them found on Amazon? So the most important thing that Amazon cares about is only one thing. Does anybody know what the only one thing Amazon cares about? Sales. Yeah, absolutely. So selling products to buyers. That's the only thing they care about. They don't care about anything else whatsoever. Of course, they care about customer service. But the thing about it is, I've been talking about research all day, so about customer service. But at the end of the day, customer service is only a good way to keep all of us in the Amazon world. It's not to be all and end all to them, really. So focusing on buyers then is where you're going to get success. So A9, it's not like Google. Anyone have any experience with SEO from Google at all? A little bit? Yeah, got some experience. So like a lot of times, like Google is kind of tricky, right? Because it's what we call an intent-based search keywords, what people are looking for. So, X product reviews. That's like a good keyword inside Google because that tells me people are interested in buying that potential product. The great thing about Amazon is, though, it's what we call a transaction machine, which means that people are already on Amazon to make a transaction, to buy something. So they've already typically researched the products before they've come in, so they're really close to actually buying the product at that point. That's why Amazon's conversions are much higher than any other website because people are literally there to buy a product. And if they're not there to buy a product, they're there to look at what options are on Amazon for that product. Who here has been in a store, you've seen a product, and then you've gone, I wonder how much that is on Amazon? Yeah? Pretty much everyone, right? Exactly. So that's another good example of why it's a transaction machine, because they know you're in a store, you're going to do stuff like that. That's where they tried to build their own stores, which haven't really gone the way they want them to go, I don't think, because it's kind of like a weird thing. I would go into an Amazon store, which inherently doesn't have as many options as Amazon. Why would I do that? It doesn't make any sense. So it's kind of a weird thing they tried, but there you go. So they've already researched the product. They know what they're looking for. Therefore, they're going to type into Amazon a much more specific keyword than they would anywhere else, right? So in Google, they might type in something like storage ideas for home, but then in Amazon, they're going to type in storage, under bed storage box, for example, because now I know, oh, that's a great storage idea. I'm going to go and do that. So when you're thinking about keywords, when you're thinking about optimizing your products on Amazon, always be thinking about people, customers. Like that's what Robert talks about, emulating the customer, what they're thinking as they're going through. You really have to think about that. And I know it sounds like one of those things, yeah, I'll think about what they're going to buy. But it's important because that can actually help you open up new keyword possibilities that you mightn't have thought about before. So that's something to really consider. And this alone, this idea that they already know what they're looking for, this is actually what makes it easier to rank, easier to identify longer tail keywords. And I'm going to explain what they are as we go forward. So the more convenient you make it for a customer to buy something or find something, obviously the more you're going to win then. Very, very simple. So let's just have a little bit of a look about A9, this search engine, like kind of like how it works a little bit. So Amazon's going to tell you a lot of things. This is the simplest thing. When you type in plastic shoe boxes with lids, for example, they're going to tell you all these things people have already searched for. So that's a really powerful idea. Like, people use all these tools all the time to identify different keywords, and there's a lot of value in that. But at the end of the day, the most value is right here. This is what Amazon are telling you, because this is what people have been searching on the platform to actually go and buy those products. So that's really important. That's, again, YouTube. They have a really similar I suppose algorithm, but they have a similar functionality. I told you guys just before this event started, some of my friends, they run I Love Basketball TV. It's a huge YouTube channel, nearly 2 million, 1.6 million subscribers I think now. And they'll tell you, like, they don't use any of these tools for even YouTube. And it's the same idea. They're looking on YouTube and they're going, they're typing in basketball drills, and they're looking for what have people typed in. I'm going to make videos around that to rank for those, right? So here, we're not making videos. What we are doing is we're saying, what information have people put in that I can learn, I can utilize in my listing to help myself rank better in the Amazon system. So next lesson then, to get better results, go longer tail with your keywords. You know, Keith will talk a lot about keywords with PPC. I'm talking very much organic keywords here today, so what you're going to optimize your listing with. So if we look at this, we've got plastic shoe boxes at the top. I actually just put this in from today just to make sure I had up-to-date information. We can see there's like 8,000 potential results for plastic shoe boxes. If we add in just a little bit of keywords, so with lids, what do we see? There's now 1,000 potential options. And then if we add in plastic shoe boxes with lids stackable, there's 261 potential results. So what does that tell us? It tells us that Amazon are continually giving less options to people the more specific that their keyword that they're typing in is. Does that make sense? So very, very simple, but actually really pretty profound when you think about it, because when you're doing your research, think of it this way. And I've seen a lot of people do this. They've taken a very small generic keyword, like a plastic shoe box, it would be that small. You're putting that into Amazon, and you're only getting back 112 results. What you can infer from that is, wow, there's not very many people selling this product. Whereas here, when I got plastic shoe boxes, I have 8,000 potential results. If I went plastic shoe, which wouldn't be the same thing, but I would get even more results. So it's important to understand that as you go forward. Here's another example, right? We've got mesh produce bags. We have 1,000 results for mesh produce bags, 565 when we add in eco-friendly. And again, we were chatting about eco-friendly as the week has gone on, you and I were. I actually use this example for you. Mesh produce bags biodegradable, 193 results. So again, that's actually telling us an interesting fact that there's these little pockets of keywords that we can be looking at where we can potentially find it much easier to get our products in front of people. And also it's great when someone goes mesh produce bags biodegradable, they are so ready to buy, it's unbelievable, because they know exactly what they're looking for. Whereas if you've got mesh produce bags, maybe they're just kind of thinking, what's on Amazon? What's available for mesh produce bags? Make sense so far? Good stuff. So the more time you spend researching keywords, obviously the better, because you start to learn what people are searching in Amazon. You start to see what's going on. You start to see the number of search terms that are coming back for what you're researching. Small search results in research, as I said earlier on, that's fantastic. That's a really good thing. Whereas even if you had mesh produce bags, but you went mesh produce bags biodegradable, there's a good chance that you will be found for that keyword. Now obviously, if you put that into merchant words, you might see there's like 10 results or whatever the case may be. So there's not much search volume for that keyword. But the point is that you can actually find additional words that you can add into your listings that will actually get you in front of that customer that's looking for that specific thing, that you can start ranking for ahead of other people that mightn't even have that in their title. Because the title is the most important piece that Amazon look at to rank your product in their search engine. It's like even inside, say, Google, for example, the most important thing in that is your domain is really important. That can be one factor. So if you had meshproducebags.com and someone typed that into Google, that's probably going to be the first website that comes up. So similar here again, having things in your title is so important, all right? So using keywords as a basis for adding more front and back end keywords then is important. What do we mean by that? Well, we go back to Amazon, we put in that mesh produce bag with whatever, and we start to see, well, there's other options. So there's like size options, there's things like that. That's another additional stuff that you can be adding in, if applicable to your listing, to index and rank for those things as well. So you can also use this as a way to learn what people want in research. So going back to our plastic shoebox example, we type that in and all of a sudden Amazon starts filtering down. Here's all things people are looking for. Stackable is one thing. We're like, wow, I didn't see a stackable one, but that's a good idea. I should look at stackable plastic shoeboxes in more detail now. They have with side opening lids. Oh, my one doesn't have side opening lids. I wonder how much like demand there is for that product now. So all of a sudden, like simple keywords that Amazon are telling you, people are typing in, that can give you more product ideas as well, or ways to go down. And I'll give you more examples of that as we go. So I'm starting to call these longer tail keywords angles. So mesh produce bag biodegradable, that's a biodegradable angle with that keyword, right? So you can start to think about that. If other people aren't using those same angles, that could be a way for you to rank ahead of them. Does that make sense? Cool. It's kind of a heavy session, I know, but it's good. So I then start looking at things like beeswax reusable wraps. So you type in beeswax and you're seeing all these potential angles for products, right? So we got food wrap, pellets, and these are very competitive, but it's just an example. Pellets, candles, wrap, furniture polish, pastilles, I'm going to call them, organic, crayons, tea light candles. These are all ideas. So you might have started with, say, a beeswax food wrap, and maybe that's interesting. Or you'd be looking at this now going, wow, I didn't really think about beeswax pastilles. What are they like? Let me research that now. So all of a sudden, keywords are great because keywords are what people are typing in. And we are always trying to fulfill demand. Therefore, when we start seeing demand like this, that's interesting. You can check then, of course, what the search volume is behind things in things like merchant words. And yeah, they're typically pretty accurate. It's not always going to be exactly accurate. But they're going to give you a good sense of how popular something is. And the more you move back towards the word beeswax, the more competitive and difficult it's going to be to rank on Amazon because that's shorter and shorter and shorter tail. So we'll keep going. So beeswax pellets, beeswax pellets, and then we have organic. So we have the organic angle now of pellets. We have cosmetic grade. Oh, that's interesting. So people in the cosmetics industry clearly search for this product. I wonder what the demand looks like on that. We go in, we see, wow, it's not that many results for this. Therefore, that's interesting. What does the BSRs look like? So on and so forth. So it's just, this is a really simple way to be thinking about everything going forward. 1 pound organic, food grade, bulk white, all right? So we must have these key elements down in order to prepare our listings for rankings. In other words, we have to know what the keywords are going to be that we're trying to rank for, okay? So what are those elements that are really important within your listing? Well, obviously your brand is important, your main keyword is important, material or key feature, product type, color, and size. Like that's what should be inside your product title. Talk about it in Module 10. Nothing's really changed since then, in all honesty. The only thing you want to consider is your main keyword might have an angle to it now, right? So biodegradable is an angle. That's something that we didn't really define when we did Module 10 back in the day, but I think it's something that's really interesting now that you should be thinking about. Do I have an angle for my product, or is it just a me too with no differentiation whatsoever? And I've had a good lot of conversations with you guys this week, and the question did come up about biodegradable stuff. People are moving towards less plastics now. Should we be doing biodegradable products? And it's an interesting thought. Like certain products, that will be important. Certain products, it won't be important whatsoever. People don't really care. They just want to buy them. So it's something to be considering at all times. Oh, no one's doing a biodegradable version of this, but yet that would make a lot of logical sense. So then you can take that a step further then and start looking at it, right? Especially if it's competitive, if nobody is searching that, if people are searching that angle, but there's nothing there to satisfy that demand, that's a huge opportunity as well. And packaging or quantity. Typically we put the quantity at the start, so 5 pack of whatever, right? But anyway. So within our title, we got to add in the longer tail angle that we uncovered through research that I just talked about. So more product angles. I'm just making this abundantly clear for you guys today. So beeswax, and then we can do these pastilles now. We see more angles yet again that are interesting. Obviously there's like this Dr. Adorable, which is a very interesting name, but obviously that's like a brand name people are searching for. So we could infer from that, wow, well, Dr. Adorable is like going to be probably a pretty big competitor in this space because it's actually been indexed within Amazon. So that's interesting for the type of product it is, you know. You'll see with your own products over time, like it'll index within Amazon too, you know, your brand name plus whatever. But if you're looking at these keywords and that's coming in after, you're like, wow, that's probably a big brand. So you got to be aware of your keyword order also. This is something interesting as well. It does impact your listing in two ways, right? So look at this, right? We got pastilles, beeswax, grade food. So it's kind of out of order. There's 202 results, and then beeswax, pastilles, food grade is 225 results. So that tells you like sometimes the order of your keywords can be important as well. So if you, remember we talked about the other day, like this like TV mount bracket we talked about. So that's something that you could be looking at. You know, if I put down bracket for TV and this and that and the other, and then at the very end I put in the mount, it may not index just as well because I've separated the keywords so far in keyword order. All right, so that's just something to consider. Typically though, when you're looking at other competitors, you're going to get those main keywords and you're going to be in the right order, especially if you're in a somewhat competitive market. So don't worry about that too much. I just want to make you aware that this actually is a factor. Here's another example. So you got keyword order on detail pages. So as you can see, this has been cut off, this title has, because it's on a smaller detail page on Amazon. It's like a search results page or something like that. So what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that I've got to have my most important keywords early on my titles. Because if I don't, someone could look at this, they might see the picture and they'll be like, if multivitamin wasn't there, and even men's multivitamin, they wouldn't even know what it is. Therefore, they probably won't even click through. So if they don't click through, you're not going to get any sessions on your listing. Get no sessions on your listing, you can't make a sale. So that's why it's really important to be thinking about in your title, have what it is early on. And that's why having a really long brand name doesn't make sense because you're using up characters as well in your title. So each word is indexed individually inside Amazon. So you don't have to overstuff the same thing over and over and over again. Basically, when you say it once, you said it now, Amazon know that you're trying to index that and they're going to allow you to do so. So that's important. So don't keep on repeating the same thing. Bullet points. You got to make sure to add in related keywords in your bullet points, right? That's a good thing to do. They don't index quite as much as a title, but it is something to consider. When you're writing bullet points, we do talk about features. Kind of a thing I've used a lot over the years now, which I'll add in today, is like customer reviews. They're a great way for us to identify what we can do to improve an offer to sell it. We know we do that in research, but also you could be thinking about, these are clearly the things that are important to people early on. So I'm going to make sure that what I read in the reviews, I have answered that potential objection in my bullet points. Important. Because let's just say that there was, we always use the pool rake example in the program, but like, you know, there was like the netting was always splitting or ripping. Well, obviously that's an important product feature then we want to talk about. If we've made sure that ours doesn't rip, we want to mention that, very important. So always ask yourself, what do they need to know to make a decision? You know, some people talk about the fact that like benefits are critical inside your bullet points, and we typically talk a lot about product features. The reason we talk about product features a lot is because the types of products we're selling, they're not, like the benefits of it are not like going to be particularly the thing that's going to make the sale. It's more like, is this the product that I'm looking for? Yes, great. There will be times, however, and this is maybe another gray area, but there will be times, however, when you're in a category or a product where all the listings, like they do have benefit-driven copy. The people want to know the benefits ahead of time. And if you don't include some level of benefits, it can lead to people maybe jumping off. But the chances of that, honestly, in most products are very, very small. You're talking about maybe like the beauty category is probably a good example where that's going to be pretty relevant. But in most categories, it's not really that relevant. The key thing that I always say though is focus on what Amazon are looking for. So this is simple stuff like start each sentence with a capital letter. It's important to Amazon. Use 10 to 255 characters per line. I know some people go crazy and they add in just unbelievable amount of characters. This is what Amazon recommends. So what they recommend, I typically follow. Bearing in mind that it's good to sprinkle in your keywords as well. That could be a nice thing. Don't use end punctuation, so like full stops or anything. Do use sentence fragments. So again, that goes, people using these big benefit-driven sentences, that directly goes against what Amazon are looking for, which are sentence fragments, right? Shorter sentences. No company links, obviously, although it's not obvious to some. No guarantees. So like people you'll see all the time, right? Try it now and get your money back anytime, or 30 days or whatever. And the truth is, like, when you're doing that, you're really pissing Amazon off because they have returns policies. And if you start going into returns policies that are against what they offer, well, that's crazy. But number two, you're wasting room because people know, like, when they buy something from Amazon, they can send it back if they want to send it back. So you're wasting time, you're wasting space by just basically talking about something people know they already have access to anyway. Also warranties, people talk about lifetime warranties and stuff like that in their bullet points. If you do that, does anybody do that? No? Okay, we used to do it. And the thing about it is that Amazon will just contact you and say, if you do have a lifetime warranty, you're gonna have to provide in your packaging detailed information about your warranty and how it works. Some people try to use warranties as a way to get people back to their website, give them their email address, and now I have them on an email list. Well, it's not a great strategy at all. But if you do offer a warranty, if that's important and you're going to stand over it, you're going to have to provide warranty information. Bullet points don't rank as importantly, as I talked about. Product descriptions, you should use benefit-driven copy. That's where you can do it. It makes sense. Focus on how your product makes life easier or more convenient. We often talk about that in the program. I always say use your bullet points as jumping off points for copy. So you got 5 bullet points, talking about different features of the product. Use those as jumping off points. So why is that now important? Why is that feature important? How does it make life easier for someone, etc., etc.? Know something. Product descriptions, you should have them. You really should, but the truth is that there's no proof to say that these are the thing that make the sale. I would say the biggest thing that makes the sale is your images, your title. They're the 2 main things, and your bullet points secondary. But it is good to have this information there because somebody might go down and you might just have said something where it's like, yes, my house is a mess, I do want that solved with that specific angle. So biodegradable is probably a good example actually of something that would be important obviously in your bullet points, but standing over the fact it's biodegradable in your description would be equally important because that's an angle now, it's a product angle that's important to those people, right? So back-end keywords, this is how titles used to look back in the day. I just think it was so hilarious. I remember whenever we started, we used to have hundreds of individual listings on Amazon for all these different, for Samsung, for Sony, whatever, hundreds of listings. And of course, you can't do that anymore. It's not allowed for good reason because it was just clogging up the whole thing. But equally, people used to do this then for a while, and this is all completely not allowed anymore. You can't do it anyway. They don't give you enough characters, and they were getting de-indexed anyway. So back-end keywords, it's an opportunity. It's not an opportunity to spam. Like, you never want to spam because Amazon have even taken down the amount of space available in back-end keywords over the years. Why? Because people were spamming the crap out of it. It's a good way to index additional keywords that aren't as critical. So see at the bottom there, I have like plastic shoebox. So if I don't mention these in my title, lids would be a potential keyword. Stackable, multi-pack, doors, clear. These are all things that Amazon will index and create what we call a keyword chain. So plastic shoebox lids, plastic shoebox stackable, plastic shoebox multi-pack. You see the way like they're all finishing off a sentence, they're finishing off a keyword. So be thinking about that, like what keyword chains am I creating when I use back-end keywords? Don't just throw in things randomly. That's what people do all the time. They might put in something like heavy duty, for instance. But if it's important that someone might search a heavy duty or premium, I used to always see people using. Does anyone really type in premium? Like in some things maybe, but mostly they might say high quality. That's like what a normal person would say. So you want to be thinking like what are people actually typing in and put that stuff in there because as I say, this happened recently, a while back now. 250 bytes is all you can put in here. So as you can see, that one sentence there, that's 249 bytes. So the amount of space is not as much as it used to be whatsoever. So, you're going to have to shorten this down quite a bit. So you got to focus on finding the most relevant chains and only use them. Stuffing, it's gone, it's never coming back, thank God. And you really want to be thinking about that. You can change these over time as well. Kind of going to be tricky to measure. You can do it, and something people do just to test over time if you're not getting very many sessions. The best thing to change, though, if you've let it run for long enough, is your title, because your title is the thing that's going to index way more than any of this kind of stuff. So also make sure to fill in all the available details relating to your product. Again, this is not going to help you rank like crazy, but at the end of the day, if you provide more information to Amazon, you're filling out their catalog, so you're helping Amazon out, and they like having complete information. Whereas if you don't fill out everything, it's incomplete information. Therefore, somebody who's taken the time to fill out every field, that they're going to get ahead of you probably in time. I've got no proof to back that statement up, but I just have to think logically. If I owned the search engine, I would want someone to give me all the information that I asked for. So that's just something you can do. We never used to do it, and when we started doing it, we did feel like it made a difference, but again, it was more of it's impossible to measure why the difference happened, you know? So product price, important to match the market leader or undercut them slightly. When you're launching, you may and probably will and probably should sell for slightly less than the leader and step it up slowly. So, you know, if you go from, say it's $13, $15, you might start your listing at, say, like 12 and let it sell there for a week, for 2 weeks, see how it goes. And then you might just start stepping it up to $12.50, $13, $13.50. We do try to keep them like, you know, $12.99. We do like those price points. I know it's so like 1990s marketing, but at the end of the day, $12.99, $13.99, $15.99 is so much better than these people who happens in Europe all the time because of VAT and stuff like that. Oh, it's $23.46. It's like, who has a price point on that? Like $22.99 or $23.99, much better price point for people, okay? You can utilize what we call a weekend blitz strategy. I haven't talked about this in a couple of years. It was just something that I came back to and was like, oh yeah, I forgot we used to do that. Basically, what this can be is if you're in a little bit more of a competitive market, typically works if you're selling other people's products specifically. But what you can do is you can reduce your price for a weekend, sell away, and then Monday increase the price again, back to where it was. We used to do that all the time. People would like, when we were competing heavily with people and they wouldn't see us do it, and then we'd come back on Monday and we're like, our price is back up, and they're like, what? You know, we sold more over the weekend. So that's something you can consider. Sometimes people use coupons and stuff, but I'm really just focusing on the actual price of your product. Using FBA, critical. That is actually a ranking piece. Like if you're not using fulfillment by Amazon, you're not gonna rank as well as somebody who is. Obviously, because Amazon want to keep people in their ecosystem. They want to give benefits to people who are paying for their Prime membership. Who's a Prime member here, by the way? Yeah, most people. That's good. Everyone should put their hand up, by the way. Oh, my joke. But no, it's a great thing. Prime is brilliant. I mean, I love it. Like it's great, and it's not available in every country, which I understand. So that's why it may not be there. Okay, so the premium only strategy needs to be backed up with views. What I mean by that is like, there's this thing has gone around of like, oh, I'm just going to be the premium product in this market. I see everybody's is less expensive. I'm going premium. And if you're doing that, you want to make sure that your product really is premium, because not that Amazon are going to come check or anything, but if you're the only one that's charging a lot more, that can work. But like at the end of the day, if everyone's selling at a certain price point and you're higher, it's got to look a lot better, it's got to be a lot better, and people have got to see that it's a lot better when they're looking at your listing. And also you want to be in a market where people want to buy things more expensive. I actually just bought this thing the other day. It's called like a gym keg. I don't know if you've ever seen this before. Basically, it's like, you know the way you get those things that you can drink like a gallon of water or whatever, and then they have marked down like all the different sizes or times of the day. So I was looking for one of those, and I saw this gym keg, and I was like, it looks cool, way more premium than everything else, but it was nice. It had neoprene sleeve on it, and I just looked at it and I said, yeah, that looks like something I want to buy. So again, that's a premium strategy in that market. I bought it because I suppose I'm looking for a premium product in that area. Most people though, the top sellers, they're the less expensive ones because people don't care on that market. Conversion rates, always monitor your session percentage. That's how many people go on your listing and buy. Look at it monthly, I would recommend. Although what I would say is when you get your product established, that's going to probably sit about the same all the time. It's not going to change that much. If you get into a market though, you'll see that certain markets have smaller percentage conversion rates. So electronic accessories, probably going to be like 6 to 9%. Why? Because people are thinking about, is it going to fit this thing? Is it going to do that? Is it going to do this? Whereas when it's a simple product that people are just looking at, they want to buy it, your conversion rates can be 30% and above. A lot of our listings are, but it sort of depends on what you're selling. So it's very hard for me to say this is what you should be shooting for. It depends on what you're selling. So if your conversion rate starts trending down, people are jumping on your listing, but they're buying it less, that's obviously telling you something. But you're looking at it over a month, so you got a lot of time to identify what's happening. If you look at it daily, it's ridiculous. Like that's not what you want to do at all. Because you could have someone buy a ton of units in one sale, and then your conversion rate jumps up, and everyone's buying it that day, no one's buying it the next day. So it's always about averages. So again, if you are converting less, you can start to think, why is that? So clearly, if I'm getting people on my listing, I'm not converting as many as I used to. There has to be a reason for that. Is it my price? Is it my images, my bullet points? They are all things in your control. They're all things you have to ask yourself. And you look at other competitors and you start to see, is somebody doing it better than me now? They got better images than me now. What's going on? So that's an easy way to start to deduce what your issue might be. Product images, easy way to increase conversions. Honestly, it's the simplest way to make more sales when you have people on your listing. It's as simple as that. 33% or more lift in sales, Amazon will tell you themselves. So think about what your product is used for and illustrate that. We talk about that a lot. You know, lifestyle images. Look, if you're in a market where everyone has lifestyle images, maybe you might want to consider them. But honestly, we don't use them, never have used them. The types of products we're selling, they're not required because they're not sexy, they're boring products, so we don't typically use them. But in your market, if you see something that looks good and maybe you have to go for them, that might be a consideration. But typically, for us, no. So think about what your product is used for and illustrate that. All that means is like, give people a sense 3D, like what the product looks like. If there's a join that's important, show what that looks like, show how that works. People can zoom in and look at that. That's important as well, okay? So you can speak to Michael about the photography service. We also gave out some coupons, I think, for that as well. But Michael is head of that. So if you even just ever want to email michael@marketplacesuperheroes.com, you can ask questions about it, whatever it is you want to do is no problem. But I would highly recommend you put money into images. Like, do not use your phone. Don't use manufacturer images. Because if you do, prepare to be disappointed. So your sales velocity is going to increase with all these things, and so too is your rank within the platform. The more you sell, the more you're going to bed in your listing, you're going to rank more. Some people tried to inflate that in the past. All that stuff's against TOS now. We just say, look, when you give something time, when you do things right, it's going to work well for you. So that's why you got to stay in stock. If you don't stay in stock, it's going to kill your momentum and all that. So you're selling to people. That's the thing to remember. That's why you should think like a person, not like a robot, whenever you're considering what keywords to use. And that's that. So I hope that was helpful. We're going to lunch now. We'll see you back here in the afternoon. Hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, I would love for you to do a couple of things. Number one, please like this video. Please comment. Almost signed Comic Chameleon there, but I'm not going to do that because it's absolutely terrible. And finally, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon to let us know that you've enjoyed the videos and so we can tell you about new videos that are coming. So that's it for now. Do all of those things and I will be your best friend. I'll see you in the next one.